second story I'd like to share relates to the fact that my father was forever unfolding. He was forever evolving. And his evolution took him to crossing boundaries that the world, that Ireland, that the church and culture has tried to place on us. My father refused to be limited by those boundaries. He was born in July 1922, the very same month that the Irish Civil War began. He breathed in the infection of soul that tore apart the life of a whole nation. He grew up in the midst of a narrow Protestant militism. But that is not where he ended his life. It was a hard journey to grow up with that sort of infection of soul. One of the last times he crossed the Atlantic to visit us in Scotland, I think he was aware that this was maybe one of his last journeys. He wrote in advance and said that my mother, he would like to visit the south of Ireland. He had never been, because the hatred that he had breathed in had so dictated how he related to the south and to Roman Catholicism. So I arranged a house down in County Kerry, and on the first Sunday of our visit, we went into Dingle town, naively thinking that there might be a variety of churches to choose from. There was only one that we could find, St. Mary's, Roman Catholic. We had an absurd conversation outside on the street. I went into protective mode of my Belfast-born Protestant father. Contrary to what my beliefs are, but I felt protected. So I said to him, you know, we don't have to go in there. And he said, I want to go to church, and I want to go in there. Did you know about Bill Newell that he always knew what he wanted? And I said, you know, we don't have to stay for the whole service. And he said, no, I want to go to church, and I want to stay for the whole service. And then we went, and on duty that day was a wonderful, blethering Irishman from the south. And when he was offering the intercessions, for instance, he said, now, we pray for the weather, Lord. It's not been too bad, but it could be much better. And we have all these people visiting from around the world, Lord, and we'd love them to see our beautiful country. So we pray for the weather, Lord. And on he went, endearing himself to my father's heart. When it came to the Mass, there was my 85-year-old Belfast-born Protestant father walking down the aisle with tears streaming down his face to receive bread and wine from a Roman Catholic priest from the south of Ireland. There is hope for the world. This was something I could never have imagined happening. He kept unfolding. That same evening, our teetotal mother agreed to come to an Irish pub with us to hear country music. I mean, there's really hope. We honor this one, this great soul, who kept transcending boundaries. These boundaries that must be crossed with courage and faith. If we are to be well, what are the brokennesses in our families today, between us and in our communities, between us as great religious traditions and nations? Shall we make the commitment to follow this great soul into the way of crossing boundaries? Will we do it? Not just remember him, but learn from him.